his compass and the sounds of battle to guide him, Gavin had assembled stray groups of wounded and disoriented paratroopers into a ragtag fighting band. Before all was said and done, his parachute infantrymen would become involved in several important and bloody clashes with the enemy. But as a result of their chaotic drop, they sustained terrible losses and accomplished few of their intended objectives. After Sicily, Gavin consulted with several American and British Air Force generals about how to avoid similar disasters in the future. He then turned to Lieutenant Crouch, a pioneer in civilian air transport and ace troop carrier pilot, to develop the tactics and training methods for commando-style teams that would jump ahead of the main waves of paratroopers without support, stealing across enemy terrain to scout and mark out drop zones with an array of top-secret homing and guidance equipment. In early 1944, Crouch established the Pathfinder School at RAF North Witham in Lincolnshire, England. Sheer nerve and soldiering ability were absolute requirements for a trooper to make the final grade. But so dangerous were the planned missions, there was an anticipated fatality rate of 80 or 90%, that most of the men enticed to take the all-volunteer training were considered troublemakers by their COs, and had been persuaded it was a way to rehabilitate their tarnished service records, or even avoid the brig. It is arguable, however, that the same maverick qualities that made them what Jake McNeese called bad garrison soldiers gave them the adaptivity needed to survive and carry out their goals under conditions their training had only approximated. The book on pathfinding was, in a real sense, written on the fly by troopers whose psychological and emotional wiring freed them to toss out the rules and improvise when circumstances demanded it. But the men who jumped only account for part of this story. The rest is about the brave and innovative air crews who flew them to their destinations. Along with the paratroopers, top-notch pilots and crews from each of the Army's troop carrier groups were sent to North Witham for rigorous retraining under Crouch, who would teach them stealthy air delivery techniques for the advanced paratrooper teams, and rapid getaway methods through enemy flak once they'd dropped their troop loads. Meanwhile, the Pathfinders would undergo endless drills in the British countryside, where they practiced using their Eureka radar transmitters, fluorescent signal panels, and colored smoke for their first mission. That mission would be no less critical to Allied fortunes than Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion of Normandy. And it is with D-Day, or the night before, when the Pathfinders left England a short while ahead of the rest of the airborne troops, that this tale begins. As a note, I've primarily focused here on the Pathfinders of the 101st Airborne Division, but in no way do I mean to ignore or minimize the actions of the 82nd Airborne Division Pathfinders, who courageously jumped in the same campaigns. My decision was based almost altogether on practical considerations. In order to tell the tale most clearly, a narrative line had to be drawn, and staying with the 101st seemed the best and straightest course. It is my honor and privilege to share with you the exploits of the Pathfinders and the airmen who risked everything to fly them into combat. I am profoundly humbled by their courage and will be ever grateful for their sacrifices. Jerome Preisler, July 2014. Normandy, June 5th through 7th, 1944. When you land in Normandy, you will have only one friend, God. General James Gavin to the Pathfinders on D-Day -1. Chapter 1. 1. Captain Frank Lillyman, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division, knew his Pathfinders would have moonlight in their favor, a full moon, and his lucky cigar. It had been clenched between his front teeth during each of his previous 47 jumps, and was poking out of his mouth now for jump 48, his first into combat. He called it a pet superstition, and had only gotten burned on a single occasion.